One stock, buy and hold, 30 years. What are you buying? If you had to buy and hold only one company's stock for the next 30 years, what would it be? Just one company, no more no less. One is the number, and the number of companies' stock purchased shall be one. You'd hold it through any type of boom and any type of bust or financial meltdown. Edit, no ETFs. Stock only. The average tenure for a company in the S&P 500 is less than 18 years. HTTPS. The average. But I'd assume this thread is more about the outliers. Those special ones that last, stuff like GE and Coke? The point is that it is insanely hard to guess those companies that will consistently outperform the index. Case in point, the two companies you just named, over the last 30 years had a CAGR of 8.32%. Co. And 5.64%. GE. You know what SPY was? 10%. Here is how that fares if you invested $10,000 into SPY versus Co versus GE exactly 30 years ago. SPY. $178,946. Co. $110,657. GE. $52,027. Even with the power of hindsight and all the data, you just named two companies that would have lost you money. So yeah. Fun little game, but just buy the index. You can play around with backtesting portfolios here. https www.portfoliovisualizer.com/backtest-portfolio. Asset type equals 1 and asset search equals GE and cash asset equals CASHX and asset class asset equals VTSMX. Just an aside. It's not like the S&P 500 has all the green companies and it sells all the red ones. Just happens to be the largest 500 at the time. So yes, some giants fall. But perspective is important. If you buy the index, you are paying for all those companies that leave the index. But yes, back in 2018 there was a thread like this, but the horizon was 10 years. The most common response at the time was V. I decided to run with it and bought 25 shares on July 26, 18. Up 98%. You mean I should put all my life savings on the most common response here? Got it. I mean V barely beat the returns of the S&P 500 over that time. Yeah, that's a big win. Pretty sure all the Magnificent Seven smoked SPY during that period. Tech has been smoking for 10 plus years. It's the trade emo. How many companies are in the S&P 500? Then why aren't you rich and out of that small-ass apartment? Too close to your mom's house. Not really, considering you're exposing yourself to a lot more risk compared to the index. There's not much risk if you can pick stocks that reliably beat the S&P 500 for 6 years. Is there? It's easy to pick stocks from the past that beat the S&P 500. It's not so easy to pick stocks today that you know will beat the S&P 500. Yes, exactly. Smiley face. Hence Holy Grail. Barely beating the index with much more risk. Not something to count on. No, not really. Being able to predictably and repeatably pick stocks that beat the market is the Holy Grail. In this case, OP just took on a huge amount of risk. Everything in one company. For very little gain. Barely beat the market. Huh? No, it's not. Greater than 6 years is nothing versus the S&P 500. One is a unit of time and the other is a basket of stocks. Greater than, and there are tons of stocks that beat it over 6 years. And tons that don't. E of the title of the post. One stock. Buy and hold. 30 years. Greater than Visa's performance versus VU isn't impressive at all over the last 6 years. Looking forward versus looking backwards again. It's easy to pick the stocks. Beating the SP 500 is a good thing anyway you look at it, even if just barely. Not when you took on way more risk to do so. Agreed. I would never do that, nor should anyone else. But I am just saying beating the SP 500 is a good thing. The new Xbox sold way more consoles than the PS5. No, it didn't, lol. With dividends reinvested. Visa won by a lot. https www.portfoliovisualizer.com/backtest-portfolio S equals Y and SL equals 1 ARXZ7 DTUUCGLPTVNLGBKN https www.portfoliovisualizer.com/backtest-portfolio S equals Y and SL equals 1 ARXZ7 DTUUCGLPTVNLGBKN January 2009 to January 2024. V should be compared to Nasdaq. It underperformed it slightly. Barley, you say? What about oats? Literally can't go tits up. No, just 25 shares. Stocks are more tied to market sentiment than profitability. See Tesla P/E ratio. Currently the top comment is, buy the index. So, yes, probably you are correct. S&P is up like 80 to 85% over that time. SPY with dividend is up 97.34% from July 26, 18 to February 26, 24. https www.morningstar.com/etfs/arc/spy/chart. V with dividend is up 116.14% in the same period. Are you both accounting for dividends? No, but good point. I wasn't. Nasdaq 100 ETF did 150%. And Viking is up over 100% for the day. I like stock picking. ETFs and indexes I'm not sold on yet. I do like checking out an ETF and seeing what their 10 biggest holdings are though. The big wigs on Wall Street that choose these things have supercomputers and high-paid nerds that have twice my IQ making decisions for them. So riding their coattails is easier than doing DD on 50 companies. You've literally just explained why ETFs are better than picking stocks immediately after declaring. You're not sold on ETFs. They will always beat stock picking in the long term over your stock picks. Even the trading nerds who get paid $200,000 per year in huge institutions struggle to beat the S&P 500. What is V? Is it so hard to write a full name? You know you're in an investing sub, right? What is V? So you underperformed Nasdaq and are proud of it? V for Verizon? Visa. I have quite a bit of V as well, purchased in 2018. I'm up on AVGO 136% in 5 years. Do you have a link to that thread? Thanks. Just bought. Microsoft. I work in IT. I have no idea how Microsoft could fail with the stranglehold they have on the business world. Microsoft owns the global business world, and as they continue to evolve, they keep plunging their hooks deeper into it. I work in web dev, and when Azure stuck the landing, it's done lol. The entire tech ecosystem relies on them at some point. Azure was their catalyst this time. I think they are trying the same with AI. Just dunno how they are gonna form it yet. AI is just a front end for Azure, isn't it? Azure is how they bought 49% of OpenAI. Azure is Microsoft's Oz and become really well adopted, and it's one of their cash cows now. AI will use that infrastructure whether Microsoft flies their own and or opts to host them. $. There will be a dip in them in the next year or so to reset, I think. Yep. I sell the support for Azure and Copilot. PPL are really skittish right now to dive into Copilot. But interested. Take a look at IBM, best tech company 35 years ago. Being more expensive than Google, but yay, I agree generally. Because they compete with AWS. AWS is number one in cloud computing at the moment. I think Azure has more AAS shit. But not 100% certain. They ain't failing. But Amazon could bust their balls real good. Must not worked in IT very long. Just roll the time back to 2012 to 2016, aka the Steve Ballmer era. Consider this. The flagship product Windows was suffering from a shrinking PC market. Google Drive was eating MS Office lunch. Xbox One was losing to PS4. The Microsoft phone was a $8 billion disaster trying to buy Nokia. Tablets were blooming. Where we're running on iOS or Android, not Windows. The idea of booming technology giant today can be a relic tomorrow is a question of when, not if. That is the difference a CEO makes. Ballmer was ineffective. Nadella is highly effective. Hard for one of the largest market caps in the world to dramatically outperform. But I think it would be very safe. 2035. In related news, Elon Musk announces he will acquire Microsoft. It might be other way. Elon owned by Apple. As Apple are looking to step in vehicles, they might do it. We never know, it's that what if moment. It literally just leaked today that Apple's car project was being cancelled. The 2,000 employees were notified and some of them are moving to AI teams. Apple Spaceship Pro then. Maybe Bill is shorting Tesla so much to lower the purchase price he's gonna pay. They should just buy Rivian. Great product that is struggling financially. Apple just cancelled vehicle program. Well, this aged like milk. If MSFT bought Tesla, then which shareholders would benefit most? I will be surprised if Musk doesn't somehow crash and burn by 2035. He is a very unstable individual. And his instability seems to be getting worse. Just read a WSJ article about all the board members on his various companies are beyond worried about his spiraling ketamine use and partying too hard. I found it. https www.wsj.com/business/elon-musk-illegal-drugs-E826A9E1. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. Dude's trying to do too much. He's burning the candle from both ends. Tesla would be better if he just focused on Tesla. Tesla would be better if he just went away. There, fixed it for ya. He's one of those people that's too big to fail. He's got so much money that even if he runs Tesla and every single business he touches into the ground, he'd still be an untouchable billionaire. If you think about it, billionaires like him are entire microeconomies built around keeping them happy and out of ultimate trouble. There will always be a failsafe from him stupiding himself into the dirt. Spoken like a post-Twitter acquisition Elon hating sheep that's been brainwashed by far left mainstream media and #X200B. If anything, by 2035 Elon will most likely have doubled his net worth. Let me guess, he tanked Twitter on purpose. Nah, Twitter was already tanking. He has been pulling it out of its nosedive. Not that you will pull Elon's dick out of your brain long enough to comprehend logic or facts, but he purchased it at $44 billion. It is now worth $12 billion. https qz.com/elon-musk-x-twitter-value-drops-2023-18511364001. If that is Elon correcting a nosedive, I'm glad he's not a pilot. It's private. Therefore the current worth is meaningless. That's the write-down value that some folks have used to get tax write-downs. There is no openly traded exchange, so that value is relatively meaningless. Furthermore, the time horizon for this kind of thing is long. What it is worth right now is meaningless, which is a big part of why it was good to take it private. If you looked at TWTR's financial filings in its last public statements, the business was already in shambles. The whole point was that the business needed to go through some really painful resets. Stuff that is hard to do as a public company. To get the company to stop burning cash was the big change. To reach close to even cash flow. Small price to pay to ensure freedom of expression in the public square. Vomits. Only double? As a side note, it is so interesting folks' opinion of Elon Musk ever since that tweet he put out there so long ago now of that stick diagram showing his political affiliation of him not being a liberal and being on a bit more conservative. Man, ever since that folks hate him so much. Day before that tweet folks wanted to put him on Mount Rushmore as a god. Ever since that folks all of a sudden hate him. Crazy difference. Even look at your own downvotes just making that comment. Now look at my upcoming downvotes for making this comment. Just crazy. Do you not remember him being a twerp about the Thai cave rescue? It's when he started talking more from an egotistical POV that people started to realize he sucks. People are so easily brainwashed. It's scary as hell. That is totally true. I am all for folks doing what they want. But there is some serious propaganda going on to explain how in everybody opinion can change so dramatic about one man so quick. Folks act like they didn't just love this guy just a few short years ago. I didn't even like him back then or now. Just find it fascinating how much media plays on convincing folks who to like or not. Folks are so easily to manipulate and I'm always surprised they don't even realize it. When I was young, I used to always wonder how anyone fell for a guy with brown hair could convince everyone into believing folks with blonde hair was the superior race. Hitler. Well, now as an adult I really do see it as pretty easy to do. Propaganda is super easy to do. Yep. The fact is he just speaks his mind. It's alarming that it has become such a bad thing to even speak your mind if it dies not involve sown virtue signaling BS. I am in the same boat as Elon. The world seems to have lost its collective mind and moved left. Common sense has left the room. Only double? I think you're wrong. Elon business is the Democrats' position of sustainability and space exploration, science, and he talks from the Republican position of free speech over feelings. This means he has the whole market covered. Dems have to buy his stuff because he's creating their green tech and repubs buy his stuff because he's speaking their language. This take, and some of the replies, are bizarre. Musk is not a politician. If he creates a product people want, they'll use it. Do people in here think trillion-dollar companies succeed based on what political party the CEO is affiliated with? Or he alienates Dems with all his right-wing leanings and alienates reps with his green tech? Could go either way. We'd need a viable alternative to the Tesla Model Y before it actually hurts the rest of the car. Companies are making compliance cars. Ford can sell 14 ICE F-150s for every Lightning and still be in compliance. Still, by 2035 the Chinese might have shown up with some real competition. Great point. Of course. Dems are not going to like it, so downvotes for you. Classic Reddit readers. Or he alienates both. People on the left don't want to support him, so they shy away from Tesla, X, etc. and choose to spend their money, time elsewhere. And those on the right don't see the value in sustainability and aren't willing to adopt his technology. He pisses off the people that are willing to spend money on his products and pleases the ones that aren't interested. Spend their money on what? No EV even comes close to Tesla, and every company that tries to replicate Elon's success has only seen failure. Lol, yes, this is why Seattleites hate him, but I see Tesla all over the city driving around. Smug alert. TBF, I bought my Teslas after his interview with Leslie Stahl a few years back where he seemed like a righteous dude. Now just self-righteous and an egomaniac. Let's not forget he just lost an $864 billion contract from the government. I'd be surprised if he doesn't crash and burn by 2022. And you are very wrong. Now, his is pissed about the brainwashing he blames on Los Angeles Day wokeism for what happened to his estranged son to daughter that turned full-blown commie. And he is definitely not a fan of quiet quitting, anti-work, and anti-merit that some leftist extremists have been pushing. Few industrialists operate in deep blue areas. Most work in red states. Hence more friction and heated rhetoric from both sides. But his life these days is way better than it was in 2008 or 2017. Infinitely better than then, and things are looking very good for him and his companies. Buy a couple of more Twitters and invest more in that ugly truck and be done. Really? Do a backtest for any time frame. MSFT has been beating QQQ pretty steadily for about 20 years, man. Just because it has outperformed doesn't mean it will continue to. I mean, you're not wrong. But can I borrow your crystal ball, Einstein? Because it doesn't mean it won't either. Not a crystal ball. Just the law of large numbers. The largest companies historically hit a ceiling. They can't continue to rise faster than the market or they'll eventually be the market. I bought MSFT and Apple when they hit their ceiling, at 1T. Still holding. And you don't see that not happening? You're right, they will be the market. They already pretty much are. When you have multiple companies with market caps larger than countries' GDPs. That's not happening already? And how is it not going to get bigger and more concentrated? We can argue what should or shouldn't happen all day. But Microsoft's market cap is $3 trillion and there's no antitrust lawsuit to break them up. This time, Einstein is a different, well-performing stock, SF. Nokia, Yahoo, Lehman Brothers. Greater than, but I think it would be very safe. Not trying to be a dick. Just crossed my mind that it would be interesting to follow up on this 10 years from now. Hence, remind me, 10 years. I've had Microsoft since 2017 and it's gone up 300%. How can it be hard to imagine if that is what has happened in the last 15 years? IDK, if I'd call it very safe. Probably just reasonable. You don't even need to go back a decade to find a time when people were questioning the viability of MSFT. They basically own OpenAI though. I'm no expert. That's why I'm here. But wouldn't you expect Microsoft to basically go up at the same rate as the S&P 500 over a time period of that long? Or would it outperform it more than likely? Was my 12th birthday wish, back in 2014, for my parents to buy me $500 worth of Microsoft stock. Suffice to say, the little bastard was right. Did that when it was around 95. My regret was not bought much. Just 10 shares only I did. Investment Yoda over here. I just laughed out loud at work. They put $11 billion into OpenAI. If that becomes as huge as I think it might, then you are investing into them too. MSFT all day. I kept thinking it was too late in the day for me to jump on the Microsoft train. I bought some shares a few years ago thinking I'd see some modest but steady returns. As of now, I'm up by almost 60%. Are you still buying at $400 plus? They're like 25% of my portfolio. And I try not to let anything go above 5% without diversifying. They're just too good. All this AI stuff is booming certain players. But when Microsoft acquires AI tech along the way, it makes them a very safe bet. More stable and financially stable than just about every country in the world. Only as long as Nadella remains CEO. Costco is one of the only companies left in the movie Idiocracy. That movie started as satire, but looks more like a documentary every day. Put me down for Costco, Carl's Jr., and Starbucks. You are forgetting the successful restaurant chain Buttfuckers. Oh man. Thank you. That would have been a very expensive oversight. Move over Magnificent 7. Hello Final 4. Wait. I forgot about Gatorade and Crocs. We're one away from a new Magnificent 7. Rip Fuddruckers, love that place. There's still one in Jersey going strong. What's their ticker? BFKR. Nah, I def think it's poop. This is no time for a handjob. Gentleman's latte. Plus it's got electrolytes. It's what plants crave. BRWNDO. I'd buy 1 million shares. They also predicted the success of Crocs before they were widespread. The costume designer actually picked them thinking there was no way something that ugly would ever catch on. The scene that always comes back to me is the one where the mom is scammed out of her Carl's Jr. fries and can't get her money back. And the smart kiosk cheerfully gasses her in the face, insults her motherhood, and takes her kids. Basically, ChatGPT in 20 years. If Demolition Man is anything to go by, Taco Bell is the only one left standing. Shit, that's too large for Amazon to want to ship. Plus high-margin impulse purchases. Great reputation and service. Treat employees well. Hire from within. Good partnerships. This is the quintessential, great American business. I'm buying for the hot dog's grin. Yup, this one definitely, till it last. Biggest issue is they're not the best with adapting to change. Their e-commerce app stuff isn't great. If transportation, logistics, e-commerce continues improving like it has been, Costco's value proposition will also rapidly vanish. Great company. And I do have stock in them. But definitely not my first choice for 30 years from now. Having a loss leader like $5 rotisserie chickens can never be shipped to get people in. The store is more innovative than anything that can be programmed into software on your phone. Apps and e-commerce make less money for the company, which is easy to forget in today's inflated valuations of tech that doesn't actually make any money. Operating. I am waiting to see what the new CEO from Kroger does. I have a feeling it won't be good things. A business model that depends on massive suburban land use and huge SUVs. Yeah, I can't see anything upsetting that apple cart in a few decades. Costco customized cars come in all sizes. Plus many EV SUVs are viable today. Can you elaborate on suburban land use? Have you ever been outside the country? Believe it or not, they have Costcos there too. The Costco I used most in the US was Portchester, which is in the middle of town between the river and the railroad. Not exactly suburban, and I had a Civic. Back during the pandemic when all stocks were going up, I saw Costco didn't increase as high and as fast to other popular stocks. And I figured I am a happy believer in Costco, so I decided to buy a share for around $300 to have a stake in the game. It was the first time I felt like I saw something undervalued before it went nuts. As you can see now, with Costco being $744 per share. I deeply regret not buying more shares. BRK. I like to say this as I bought a nice chunk at the bottom of the pandemic market and it's doubled since. Hold it is. Great minds. I bought BRK. On April 6th. April 24th. May 4th of 2020. Still holding on to AVGO from March 30th of 2020. Plus 468%. I feel it's a safe play. Better than some meme stock or moonshot. Not sure why the downvotes. It is a safe play. It's a conglomerate with many small business inside, on top of its great stock portfolio, as well as great management, and one that is destined to follow Buffett's ways even after his death. Yeah, it almost breaks the ops rule. It's a diversified portfolio owned by a single company. Almost breaks the rules equals doesn't break the rules. The best kind of rule breaking. I literally just sold some of my moonshot gains to buy some for long term. Good stuff. Just wish I had done this for the literal moonshot in my portfolio. $LUNR loudly crying. Deleted. Ah yes, the ETF, that's also a stock. Cheater. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. I bought BRK in 2010. It is up 500% since then. Long-time holder also. I bought 4 shares right before the Union Pacific deal. I was listening to NPR one day when they were talking about it, and the analyst said the split would make it able to be included in the S&P 500. I knew that meant index buying, so I bought. After the split I kept buying until it got past 125. One of my best investments. That's awesome, congrats. My dad was an early fan, bought BRK. Between $2,500 and $25,000 when retired. This is my first inclination as well. I'm hesitant because in 30 years Buffett will be long dead and Abel might be also. So who knows if BH will still be killing it. It's already priced in. Multiple generations of succession is already priced in? Don't even ask the question. The answer is yes. It's priced in. Think Amazon will beat the next earnings? That's already been priced in. You work at the drive-thru for Mickey D's and found out that the burgers are made of human meat? Priced in. You think insiders don't already know that? The market is an all-powerful, all-encompassing being that knows the very inner workings of your subconscious before you were even born. Your very existence was priced in decades ago when the market was valuing Standard Oil's expected future earnings based on population growth that would lead to your birth. What age you would get a car. How many times you would drive your car every week. How many times you take the bus, train, etc. Anything you can think of has already been priced in. Even the things you aren't thinking of. You have no original thoughts. Your consciousness is just an illusion. A product of the omniscient market. Free will is a myth. The market sees all, knows all and will be there from the beginning of time until the end of the universe. The market has already priced in the heat death of the universe. So please, before you make a comment on stocks asking whether AAPL has priced in EarPods 11 sales or whatever, know that it has already been priced in and don't ask such a dumb fucking question again. This gave me a great laugh. Thanks. Your mom is priced in. What about the EarPods 12? I think that was an oversight. Selling my car and buying AAPL. My dog and I can last on the streets till we can sell it after release of the 12s and buy a house in the Hollywood Hills and a Lamborghini. Checkmate. Of course. Everything can't be priced in. It's a joke, brah. Your butt is a joke. Your butt is priced in. This is my primary concern too. It's why I haven't bought any IDK how much longer he's got. Granted I should have bought it 10 years ago. And had the same reason back then SMH. 10 years from now Buffett will be like 103 and BH will be at 3T and we'll both be saying, I should have bought 10 years ago, lol. Didn't he come out saying the big growth days are behind them? It's all relative. He still expects to beat American companies and have less downside risk. Plus, apparently he's been saying this already for years. If they can beat the S&P then it would still be a good play. His goal has never been explosive growth. Berkshire is a value investment. Growth is just a natural side effect of solid investments. It's all safety at this point. Did you misspell ARKB? Yes. I don't know how to read or write. Yep. Came here to say this. One of my longest holds. Bought in 2009. Went through the crazy split and I'm up 5x on it. Certainly not my biggest gainer. But it's rock solid and never makes me nervous. BH is taking a pounding last couple days.